What's popular, YouTube? Another day, another demo. I spent all of yesterday talking about lucky number 7. Oops. My mistake. But I meant what I said. Okay, number 7 is a hot place to be. The player in this spot might be better than the number 1 in a lot of ways. And I think we've got a very lucky player here in number 7. No, it's not lucky. It's not. That's definitely not. No one thought it was going to be lucky, but we got a lucky player here in number 7. Hope you've been enjoying the list so far. If you, a disclaimer is always this a companion list. It's not meant to be a prediction list for HLTV. I accidentally put the HLTV logo on the thumbnail from yesterday, but that was just a mistake. Just my top 20. I love this part of it because, first of all, this year is so different. And this year we had a significant number of lands and a really strong online season and a situation where, you know, we got to see teams play through both and got all kinds of different, viewpoints on the whole situation. I mean, for those of you who came in the last couple of years, I mean, a lot of us didn't even know CS outside of LAN. So even pro players were not sure what was going to happen when things went back online. Now, there was a point where Navi in 2020 had not played a LAN match, an online match in almost a year, I think. Like out of 2019, like didn't play almost a single one. So it was pretty shocking to get into a situation like this. But unlike 2020, now we have a major, now we have like 5 other huge lands on top of a really, strong circuit at the beginning of the year with the online results. And it's been fantastic to see both the stories of the teams that only played well on LAN, played well online and on LAN, and played well only online, right? All of those stories are awesome and have been something that we've just been able to got to watch and take in for ourselves. So with all that being said, who is going to be the player here in the number 7 position? Who is lucky number 7 in the world for me? Well, this player was one that we almost forgot about. He is a player who I believe met the prime minister of his country. He's a player who has incredibly thick and beautiful hair. He's a guy who he might be the cutest man in esports. You know what I'm saying? Who am I talking about here? He's a father, guys. He's a father, all right? He is the major champion, okay? He's a major champion. That's right, it's simple. No, he is the guy that was, in a lot of ways, one of the most important players and interesting stories of this year. That's right, you guessed it. It's Hobbit, okay? Hobbit is the guy we're talking about for the number 7 position this year. He had an incredible year overall, and I am, splitting hairs when I talk about him. And honestly, like a lot of these, like from the 13 to like now, it's so tight, like so close. But I personally put him over top of Axile just because I felt like, and I talk about it more in the demo that I just did on Hobbit, but basically, I put him over Axile just because throughout the year, I didn't really see a point where I felt like Hobbit was changing or becoming worse. I felt like he was a player who fell off least versus Navi when it came to the LAN switch, even though they all played well versus Navi online. I felt like he was a player on the T sides who, even though everyone wasn't amazing on T side, was still the X factor along with Nafany on the team, where I feel like Axile wasn't. So for me, he was more of a two-way player. He was a nice representation of playing multiple roles in a single T half, and I feel like he, really led by experience in this year, and for me, it's just a better player than Axile still, even if Axile had a strong year and lots of statistical, arguments for himself. But Hobbit's the dude for me. Amazing showing from him and the whole squad this year. Just huge congrats to Gambit. I mean, what a story. You haven't seen anything like it. This many players putting up such a high level of stats all at the same time, combining that with results. No one appearing to be like, the guy who's just hogging all the kills. Maybe Shiro, who saves a lot and like has a strong KD and ops and everything like that. But they created such a fantastic system around him. And I think they really thought about it. Economy down CS. And I think that was the thing that defined Gambit this year, was understanding when they had an advantage, not letting it go. And if they had a really expensive gun, they prioritized that across the entire half as opposed to taking risks they didn't need to. And that led to some situations where you're like, they're saving 3v4, which is not sexy CS to watch. But you also got a lot of interesting defaults where multiple players would lurk out all at the same time, or they were very unpredictable, hard to read, or they throw tons of utility in a default just to cause a reaction, but not actually execute on a site and then just walk up at you. And they did lots of cool stuff that was fun to watch. So outside of some of the slower rounds, I mean, a super cool team to have here. Gambit has done a great job. Groove has done an amazing job for sure with this roster. And while they transitioned well online, or from online to on LAN, they didn't do it 1-to-1. So for me, that is negative points. If it wasn't for Na'Vi this year, they might be the #1 team of the year, because Na'Vi was stopping G2 and Gambit and Vitality from getting any LAN wins outside of the one LAN they didn't attend that Vitality won. So their matches with Na'Vi and the discrepancy between their online and LAN results, especially with Gambit playing so well versus Na'Vi online, winning almost every single game and then losing, it almost counts against them, because it shows how much of a discrepancy there is and why LAN matters. And you can't win a major online in these kinds of storylines. So yeah, I expect that next year will only be stronger and they'll do bigger things. But this one's about Hobbit, so why don't we talk more about Hobbit? Let's hop into the demo. He's so good, they made another movie about him. After Lord of the Rings, he got his own spin-off. He's like Zayn Malik for Gambit. And he actually, kind of like in between Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, there was like a little break, right? Where he disappeared. Hobbit, the player who joined Team Eyebrows, Hellraisers, in between 2017 and 2020, when he made his comeback, greatest comeback since LeBron's hairline. Hobbit, major winner, right? And he knew that he was the reason, and he was a big reason why they won the major. Everyone could see it, plain as day. He was that good. And everyone was asking in the comments, like, hey, can we watch like a more competitive game? Because then it's like more fun. You watch somebody fight back. No. We're going to watch... Okay, what the... I'm going to move him back a spot for that one. We're watching a 16-4 match with Hobbit dumpstering Entropic in a V4 Budapest. Not even an ultra-relevant LAN here. I just was like... I don't know why. I just wanted to watch this. I just didn't watch it. The one thing about it was like, it's map 5 of this grand final, and it was a LAN, and it's Entropic. So I was like, okay. Entropic actually, one of the teams that are one of the more comfortable teams versus Gambit, because there's the whole CIS region that are constantly duking it out at either the RMRs, CIS RMRs, the 2 that happened this year, or just multiple events, tons of games online. And Entropic were also a team that are grinding at the same time as Gambit youngsters, right? Just last year. So, okay, it might be an interesting one, and it is a showcase just to show off how good Hobbit is. I mean, this team is very good, right? I mean, we see, like, again, I draw that comparison with Heroic, where I'm like, they were a solid team, yet their only top 20 player was Stown, and Cadian is like real close but not quite, and everyone fell off drastically on LAN except for Stown. And we look over to Gambit, and people on Gambit did also fall off on LAN, which is normal, but it was enough that it affected their results. So that was a thing, but it wasn't nearly as much as Heroic. And so what we have is really strong representation from Gambit this year, on just their LAN results. And I think that for my list this year, like HLTV, I'm favoring a lot of the bigger events. But here's my logic, okay? As impressive as the first half of the year was, and we can't forget it ever happened, and Gambit played very well, there is no online era. There is no online era for any team, even if Gambit are probably the very best team to be online. And the reason is because you can't win a major online. You can't win any major events online. And then there's the obvious reasons. There's less pressure online. There's no crowds. You're no home setup, right? All these different other factors as well. And so this year, what we saw was that we went from half a year online, which was difficult and very impressive what Gambit did in this half a year online, to a point at which we got major events, 6 major events, 5 or 6 major events, IEM Cologne, Blastfall Final, World Final, IEM Winter, and the major. And I might be missing one. And of course, V4 Budapest, of course, right here. With these events, because there was a significant amount of them, what do we learn about this year? That Na'Vi are the #1 team of the year, even though they spent the first half of the year losing to Gambit Online, right? Because they won the major. They have like a similar amount of event wins, but they're all on LAN at much bigger events, much higher pressure situations. And they were also events that Gambit attended and did not play as well at as they did online. and that's the main thing. So it's kind of sucky, but ultimately the shadow is huge for the main events over the online ones. And unfortunately, the online results can only be validated by equivalently good LAN results. And any discrepancy will have a spotlight shone on it, right? Because if you're not quite as good on LAN, then that, by definition, means you're kind of an onliner, right? And for Gambit, they proved that. First of all, I mean, none of this is like a secret, right? Everyone was, in fact, doubting that Gambit would even come close to the LAN results they had. So they had an amazing year. But I will say it just affects things slightly because they had tons of wins, but the LAN results are even more important. I expect year 2 Gambit to just be better. I mean, I don't think they're overrated or whatever, right? I think it's very important that when I'm framing this conversation, it's not to take away from what they've done. It's kind of like a thought experiment. Like the team that had the era this year was Na'Vi, right? Even though Gambit played well and had an amazing online and a good LAN result, right? So, okay. I don't think anybody's going to be doubting that. So Hobbit, what's really great about Hobbit is I feel like you get a player like Hobbit on a team like this that has a huge comeuppance, and in a world where a player has taken a break or come back, or they're the most experienced player on the team, they never become the best player on the team. Okay, and yeah, Shiro's stats are really strong and 66 events with no 1.0 under 1.0 rating and stuff like that. But in a lot of ways, Hobbit was a better player this year, and that's just because, first of all, it's all the things he's doing with the rifle. And the reason I have him over Axile is because, and I don't want to make too many comparisons as I go down this list. It's all open to discussion, of course, right? I don't want to corner anybody's opinions or whatever it is, but I'm just going through my logic. But since they're teammates and their stats were so similar, I mean, for me, it came down to what I saw in their big matches. And the one stat is like everybody fell off, everyone versus Na'Vi online, all of Gambit, which is a very important opponent this year, right? We talk about G2, we talk about Gambit. Their biggest opponent is Na'Vi. That's the one that was locking them out of winning events regularly, right? So their stats versus Na'Vi are important. Now, they're not going to be good, of course, versus a team that beats them a lot. But Gambit were the team that had the winning record online, like 7-2. Something like that. Or one of those being a LAN result, actually. So, a huge amount of wins. And versus Na'Vi online, Hobbit, Shiro, Axile all had a 1.10 or better rating versus Na'Vi online. Insane. Nobody's doing that versus Na'Vi on LAN this year. Not even close. And on LAN, and no one was even doing it versus Na'Vi online, really, you know? And on LAN, this flash is OP, by the way, because you can't see it because of this palm tree. So you can just kind of crudely throw it up in the air, right, left click, and it works. You're going to eat it. On LAN, oh, that was nasty. Oh, that peak was nasty too. Dude, the thing is, I can't, what the hell is this? I can't believe he plays so well. Like, he's the most experienced player on the team, but he's kind of like the Shocks, right? You'd think he'd come back onto the roster and be like one of the worst players on the team, right? Just the experienced guy. But no, he's like a frag leader. But yeah, okay. Online, 1.10s for all the main players on Gambit. On LAN, 0.9 or less. And the team, and the player who fell off the least was Hobbit, okay? On LAN, for what it's worth. It's not huge differences. You know, it's like 0.7 or some 0.07 between him and Axile or something like that in their few LAN matches. You don't get that many chances. But that's where, I mean, the stats don't completely tell the story. But for what it's worth, you know. And when I watched the games, there was a period of time, like a couple of months, where I was watching Axile, and I was like, they do not have the same aura right now with Axile. It was kind of like right after Cologne, they played their first LAN, and then they started to rethink who they were as a team. They wanted to try to keep some of the stuff that was helping them go far, but they lost to G2, they lost to FaZe, and they looked a little bit worse, and it was scary. And then after that, and you saw things like Nafany screaming on LAN. You never saw him screaming online, of course. So the team was learning about itself in a very healthy way and still continued to be good, but changed a bit. And I remember Glaive telling me in the early winter or fall that people aren't as scared of Gambit anymore, even in practice and stuff like that. He just said like they don't have the same aura in when you're playing against them. They weren't as rock solid as they were online. And it's kind of a boom bust cycle, right? Like they conquered online, they go to LAN, the results aren't exactly the same, so they try to figure it out. Like, oh, what are we missing exactly? Who is maybe a little bit nervous in certain situations, stuff like that. And for me, Hobbit just wasn't shaken, and I think that it's in the accolades. The fact that he's won a major already, I think speaks volumes. And I just felt like where there were a couple of months where Axel, I feel like, took some time to figure himself out. I didn't see that from Hobbit. And as much as all these guys are fantastic on CT sides, and their T sides are all worse, as T sides normally are, I personally felt like Hobbit was the X factor for Hobbit and Nafany were X factors on T side to open rounds up more often. Okay, that's what I felt like. And I want to be careful about how I frame that, because I'm not saying any of them were bad. Again, this team was very good across the board, across all players, across the whole year and everything. But we're just talking about the minutia as we come down this list to talk about who has the small percentage edge. And in my opinion, I feel like Hobbit was still taking all the risks that I felt like were resulting in the rounds moving forward or being explosive when they needed to be, just a heads-up player. And yeah, CT side's no question marks for me for any of these guys. So lots of great things to say about Hobbit this year. And that's why I have him where I have him. But I feel like it's not a coincidence. Hobbit's a father. Okay, did you guys know that when it's from Kazakhstan, right? I don't know, they have a prime minister. Hopefully I got both of these things correct, because otherwise I'm going to get yelled at, and I deserve it. But when he landed in Kazakhstan... Is it Kazakhstan? I think so. It's the blue flag, right? When he landed in Kazakhstan after they won the major, the prime minister greeted them at the airport, and they had like a crowd cheering for them. I'm not sure if I dreamed this, but I'm pretty sure there's a video somewhere. So, not only that, but he's a father. Like, everyone talked about Axel because he was like cool and had a girlfriend and was really great at CS and one of the strongest riflers. That's what Nafany said. And he was doing school as well. But Hobbit literally won a major, got greeted by the prime minister at the Kazakhstan airport. Plus he has a child. Plus he still looks like a child. And that's actually an insane thing, because I feel like his genetics are so strong that when you watch him play, he plays like a child. Not like a child, but like an Axel, you know? He has so much skill, pound for pound, at his age, and is literally a dad. It's dad buff, though. Electronic has it, too. Maybe he'll make the list this year, I don't know. Don't want to see spoilers. So, do you think that's good reasoning? Let me know in the comments below. Can we get 10 likes on this video? Thank you so much for hitting that bell. Dot crosshairs are... I just want to say this. Dot crosshairs are the best crosshairs. Even though they're technically not crosshairs, but just dots. Oh, see the shadow? He's just holding for the drop. What the hell is going on over there? Just on the monkey bar swinging around. Can you see the shadow through the smoke? Is that what was happening? I don't even know. I honestly didn't even know that was a thing. Am I nuts? He's been good. Look at this careful rotation. Didn't freak out at all. He was in CT, so he's locked in, just waiting for the drop. Oh, reads the move out mid as well. I'm sure Inter's hit him with the communication. The telepathy. He had a can on a string. Lock that spray down. Tech 9's out. That's what is how it curls his finger here, the Tech 9 out. When I have the Tech 9 out, I have to curl my finger a lot. And then I can shoot really fast, but... That sounds weird. Does anyone do that? Let me know in the comments below. Can we get 10 likes on this video? Uh-oh, he's gonna kill them both. Wait, 5 bullets? Imagine. On LAN in map 5 of a grand final at V4 Budapest with 5 bullets? Okay, reloaded. Okay, Alien. That's why Alien's number 20, baby. Those are the plays we love to see. But it's the stamina. You know, the fact that Hobbit has a kid. He's like 30 and plus... No, he's 27. I actually don't even know how old he is. I'll check after. He's elderly. He has already won a major and everything. You could just fall off, right? Like, you won a major, you could just disappear. Like, everyone would still be like, you're nuts back then. But no, he grinded his way back up to the top. It's crazy, man. It's what a story. These are the things we love to see. I just don't get how his hair is just like so, it's so thick. And his spray is so good. Oh my god. Chill for me. Big moves. I also desperately wanted to watch a Dust 2 demo. I realized going through this is like, hey, we did a good job. We went through like almost 7 maps in a row, all of them different. And then I was like, wait a second. And I did a few more, and I was like, wait a second. Like in the top 10, no Dust 2. So I was like, what? No, we got to do a Dust 2 then. Even though Dust 2 sucks, you know? Even new Dust 2 is better than old Dust 2, but it still kind of blows, I think. But if there's a good position to watch, it's your mid-B rotator. So what Hobbit's job is a person who comes up towards Cat like this. He can throw support flashes for long. He can play Goose if they feel like it's going to be the A site. He can come to mid and figure out, you know, when to play on this box or different timings. Here, these mid smokes are so key. So with this smoke, he can like come and clear things out if he, you know, wants to clear out the pocket and see if anybody's here. But now there's some pressure towards long, so they feel the cat split's coming on with 50 seconds. And oh, let's see what Hobbit does now. Oh my god, he's a nasty, man. That was perfect crosshair placement. And they know there's players long. That was his one timing. Oh, the flash was great too. That's why we put Ellie at number 20, baby. Pure impact. Alien, baby! Oh! Alien's the GOAT. That's on land. Grand 5. Grand 5. At the V4 Budapest. 5 maps deep. And you're hitting shots like that. This is actually an Alien reverse POV demo review. I'm trying to hit you with some Alien propaganda. That's a nade to punch the default lens right at the top of mid on the left side. Don't throw too early, but lots of times people will be sitting there waiting, seeing over smoke, that kind of thing. So that's why I threw it. Wow, risque cross here from Hobbit right at the end of his smoke. And these decisions to go, when you see a team make these decisions as a spectator, this is a clear intention or a clear read from, you know, the whole team. When your mid B player goes to the left side of the door or the right side. So, wow, man, nasty shots from Hobbit, honestly, is actually destroying them right now. I don't know why they had that read, but they were 100% right. But as soon as your mid-B guy crosses the door, it's a big decision because you can't simply walk back and forth like you could in a pug. At this level, with the utility you used to cross back and forth, you've got to use a flash to cross, you got to have a smoke up to cross, you can use nades to cross, you could try to take a timing and peek, but it's a very T-sided affair to have someone who could potentially be sitting in the door holding the cross, right? Like, James is going to be there, Elian's going to be there waiting for you. So, if you, the upside, of course, to overstacking B is what we just saw right there. Hobbit can play outside the site, he can die fighting, and he still has 2 teammates within the site, plus Entropic are going to see that they got out-red when Hobbit is already there. The downside is, if it's going to be another cat hit, then Hobbit can't cross back that easily. So picking all the right times here to overstack, basically. And that's why your mid-B rotator is, you know, in some ways, he's got the hardest job. Because in a good match, you're going to see that he's right place, right time. And in a bad match, he's always going to get caught rotating, you know. Always going to be in the guy in CT spawn, unable to help versus the cat cross, unable to flash for the long players, or unable to help mid-B over the smoke. So his duties are endless, basically. And we see it's also a very fun, you know, demo to watch because you see him playing in so many different spots. So I fully committed to that. Elian, baby. What a monster. We actually freaking love Elian. Amazing. But yeah, whenever you see your mid-B player playing on the A site, or you see him playing on the right side of the door, it's funny, we're not seeing any fast cats in this demo. He basically is only running up to cat solo. Flash from mid. Yo, 2 times there's been great flashes, and he's died just because someone was holding down mouse 1. Unfortunate. And that's why sometimes it's good to throw empty flashes and just wait for a second, but that one was pretty unlucky, right? He got clothesline. Can't be mad about that. And not only does he use a dot, he uses like a tiny one. And it's not just dot. It's not dot, CL crosshair dot 1. It's like CL crosshair gap -6 or something. Because this one looks like a diamond almost. But then it also looks like it might be thickness 0.5. Like, I'm not even sure. And I can't grab the crosshair from the demo, I don't think. So, unfortunately. Not from the POVs, at least. Wow. That's, again, right place, right time. Only Hobbit can counter Alien, man. Alien the Alien. Thanks for posting the UFO videos. In the other video. I'm a couple days ahead with these recordings, so... Sometimes I'm, like, reading comments from the day before, and I'm like... No one's even gonna know what I'm talking about anymore. It's like, I'm recording like... I'm, like, 2 videos ahead. 2 or 3 videos ahead sometimes. It's like, I can op, but he doesn't need to. Okay, last round. Fantastic game so far from Hobbit. Like, already seen the reads have been so good. Like the smoke that they're throwing for the long cross. Comes out late, but allows you to play around it if it is going to be long control for your pit player, everything like that. Makes it annoying to try to scale from the T's perspective when they see a smoke like that. You got to go around both sides. He's jump spotting because of crouch oppers. So there's Alien, basically. Uh-oh. Oh, he stays in fight. Oh, what a monster. What a monster. Anymore? He's been so insane on these duels. Wow. The movement is perfect. Just jump, dude. Just jump, yeah. Uh-oh. Please. Okay, fine. Alright, whatever. Axel could see it. See, Axel just steals kills, you know? He's really overrated, so... That's why Hobbit it's up higher, alright? Yo, that was a good game. That was sick, man. Hobbit's nasty. We saw CT side. I think we saw impressive games from him on T side. I think in some ways he'll continue to be the most, important, impactful player and a leader on this team. But again, fine margins. They're all so good. An amazing come up from Gambit as a whole this year. So these top 20 lists, they're fun to discuss who is better, who is worse. And I think they drive some good conversations about what actually matters when you talk about players and teams. So that's an unintended side effect that I think is very good for the scene as a whole. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is just for fun. So let's keep it light. Let's keep it fun. All right, so Hobbit. Hope you enjoyed that one. Who you got for tomorrow? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, be safe.